space, but we're looking at adding recordings and the transcription. So not everybody wants that, but because we've got such different learning styles, there's a bunch of stuff that's missed because of the breakout rooms, but it's okay. There's some really wonderful stuff that surfaces in the main room.
And so, April, are you, I can see from the messages, your group's still in a bit of flux around the scheduling. Just so you know, you're like the fourth group in this class, which means you can move to Tuesday mornings and move to Wednesdays and it won't disrupt groupings. And if it's required, we could even, I don't know, have you freeform across and drop in on what works. But if you could go back to your group and just continue the conversation and find out which one can the most of you attend, even if it's just two of you, it means when you go into a breakout room, there's someone else to be talking with instead of joining on to another group.
Yeah, I saw that in the messaging, and I thank you so much for reaching out for clarity too. I think I was traveling, but I'm really looking forward to reconnecting and finding out what's working for people.
Okay, fantastic. Welcome in,
Thank you.
Kim. I love your photo, your
Thank
Zoom
you.
photo, full of sass.
Yes, good to see you all.
Yeah. Which landscape are you, Kim?
Duwamish.
Jen Duwamish.
Wonderful.
Representing. All right, so I think
Yes.
because we have a member or two from each group, we can probably kick off. What do you think, Claire?
Yeah, perfect.
Yes. Wonderful.
Yeah,
So
we're five
welcome.
past as well.
We're 5 past, perfect. Welcome in, everyone. Of course, want to first acknowledge the different unceded lands that we're all dialing in from. Always was Aboriginal land, always will be, as they say here in Australia. And just to honour and recognise the commitment that each of you have made and continue to make in regard to honouring land and stepping into your role as co-steward of land inside this incredibly magnificent web of life that we get to work within. And so we thought we'd start today's check-in. Actually, we'll just do a bit of housekeeping. So Claire kicked us off with that. We are moving to our next month, which starts off with session 2, which introduces the content and the vibe for December, and 3 more classrooms that will be dedicated to that particular session. So it's a bit of a gear change. Really valuable to be at Friday's session because we introduce, the next chunk of thinking and work and deliverables, and we'll do a project briefing on the action learning project of the story decks and the landscape showcase event. So if you can't make it, then definitely watch the recording from this Friday's session. That's really, really important. We're experimenting with 3 classroom cohorts because as of next month, we're going to be doing a lot of working on the work in these sessions. And we want to give you time, sort of like office hours time, to come together with 1 or 2 of your land stewards and get stuff done in class so that there's less work happening outside of the LHC contact hours. So we'll see how that goes for the rest of the year. And if we need to make any adjustments, we can do that in January. And also, as Claire said, we have made the decision to record all classrooms and include their transcripts. That is quite labor intensive. So how that will work is that we'll put in the classroom summary the links to the YouTube videos directly. And then, every 2 weeks or so when I'm batching recordings, we'll load the transcripts and the recordings up into our recording and resource space inside the LHC space. Does that all make sense in terms of housekeeping notes to people? All good, clear, thumbs up, awesome, some chuckles. Awesome.
We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out. You're like, yeah, you talk, we'll listen. And so we thought we'd do an opening grounding practice today by doing check-ins now that we have a smaller, oh, look at my beautiful frieze. Look at my beautiful face. I live in a regional area and it's windy, so this is what happens. So on that beautiful note, we're going to start with a weather report style check-in. And welcome in, Asha, great to see you. What a weather report check-in looks like is each person will take their turn. So we'll all raise our virtual hands because that creates a bit of clarity. And your weather report consists of, and I'm just going to type it into the chat. 1 is single word to describe your current state of being. 2, 1 number between 1 and 10 to describe your current energy levels. And I'll give you some guidelines to that as I type this. So one is that you have so little energy, you literally need toothpicks to hold up your eyelids in order to get through this session. So one's pretty full on, it's down in the dumps. And 10 is literally something along the lines of you just received your very own eco-friendly personal jetpack and you can now officially fly. So 10's really high. So that's the energy spectrum. And then the third piece is just one sentence to describe your weather report. And then we finish with I check in and nominate the next person. And so Claire and I will model this for you. So, single word to describe my current state of being. Sorry, I've got to have my video off. It's just not functioning very well. It would be buzzy. That's my one word. My number is about a 7, which is a bit low for facilitation. I like to be more at an 8.25. Yes, thank you for everyone who's raised their hands. I will raise my hand as well. What's going on between my 7 and my word buzzy? Imagine like you've got your foot on the accelerator and your foot's also on the brake at the same time, and it creates this sort of really interesting energy because I'm pretty exhausted as we come into the end of the year, but I'm feeling the exhilaration that comes with something like facilitating a group. And I check in and I'll throw to you, Claire, from Regenerate Cascadia. And I lower my hand.
Yeah, thanks. I think I started out this morning. We've had a session already this morning with an 8, but I think I'm down to a 7 right now. It's been a long day. But I'm good. I've got lots of energy and it's honestly, this work fuels me and actually the team that I worked with fuels me. So I am going to pass to David Haskell.
Well, I'm an 8, so I'm right up there, ready to fly. I'm mixed emotions is my word, but and I'm only that because I have a dear member of my family who's passing tonight.
Sorry to hear that, David.
Shush. There you go. And I pass on to Claire.
Hi, I'm cold and clear, yeah, shivering a little bit. My energy is around 7, and I'm just coming from another meeting, so I'm a little bit tired. But the other meeting was with my stewardship team, talking about how to frame our story for this work, and so it was really collaborative and enthusiastic and exciting. And I'll pass to Denise.
Thank you. I'm feeling optimistic. I had some really great meetings today. I'm probably an 8. I took a nap and had a cup of coffee, and the weather here is breezy.
And who do you
And
want?
I'm going to pass it to Asha.
Probably at more of a 3. Thank you all for having lots of energy for me. I appreciate all you've said, and I'm sorry about your passing, David. My energy was on putting into the pot today, creating some nourishment of our apple butter, our last batch, and to me that feels really good. I get to gift that and share. So I did get to bring that across to my neighbors, and I get to bring that to some other people soon. And I pass this to Kim.
Kim, are you there?
Let's see.
I think Kim may be frozen right now.
All right, we'll wait on Kim Kelso.
Hey, we're 2 people over here. Yeah, I think we came in a little late for the prompt, but catching on. I think I'm at about an 8, feeling pretty good. Like Claire said, we just came from a good general circle meeting, and it was pretty lively. So feeling good. And then is there weather involved in this?
So it's just one word to describe your current state of being, one number for your energy level, and then just a sentence about those. So you can choose a
I
cool
feel
word.
sufficient. Oh,
Exhibition.
electric.
8 energized. Yep. Ditto to what's been said. Kendall, by the way. My name's not on the screen.
And Kelson. And we'll pass to April. Hey.
Hey. I would say my current state is swirling. I am at about a 7.5 on energy, which feels pretty good. And I'm feeling really excited about what's been emerging in my life. It's been sunny and rainy, and that together has been feeling very nurturing. So let's see. There's not a whole lot of hands left, but I don't remember hearing Tom's introduction.
Yep, it's me. My state of mind. I'm feeling with more clarity after a good meeting with David today. And my energy level for what we were talking about is about a 7, because having reviewed our task, it looks bigger than it looked when we started. Way bigger, actually. And the weather report here is it's cold and dark, but that's appropriate for the season. So who's next? Who's next?
Deborah, Pesson, Kim, and
Oh, yeah, Kim. Okay.
Oh, Kim keeps. Oh, there she is. Yes,
There she is.
there they are. No, frozen.
That's it.
I think she's there.
Coming in and out.
Oh, but you're on mute, Kim.
And you are freezing.
But you're muted. Oh, she can't.
Oh, okay. Perry, how about you
Yeah.
jump in?
I'm about a 5, and my sense is overwhelmed. We're busily packing for a week's vacation. We leave early tomorrow, Thursday morning in Mexico, and but I'm feeling good. I'm feeling pretty optimistic. I'm trying to figure out how to get all the names of all the water associations on Whidbey Island into this darn map without having to type every single sticky note.
Oh.
And I'll pass it over. About Kim, are you ready? You have to unmute yourself.
You're not able to unmute? Wonder if I can help
There
you.
she goes.
There we go. Thank you for helping me unmute. I don't know. It wasn't letting me, but yeah, I'm Kim. I'm feeling about 7.5 right now. Pretty good energy coming from my dance class. And I'll be better when I have dinner. I'll be probably at 8. And I think the word is for me is brisk. Feeling very brisk. Thank you. Anyone else?
Deborah.
Deborah.
I'm coming. Let's see. Hey, I'm about a 7. Been working on multiple things today. Feeling pretty grounded. It's cold and dark. Like it is what it is, right? So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, well, welcome in everyone. We thought this was a lovely grounding exercise or welcoming exercise, just to kind of do a check-in with where everyone was at. Yeah, so we've got a bridging exercise just to kind of get us warmed up and into the space, sort of thinking about what we did last week, and then sort of building on that, and especially it was surfaced what we had left out, and so we had really focused on the people that we should be working with, and we were doing all of that mapping with who are the groups, who are the people that we need to be working with, and was very human centric. And so we started thinking, what is everything? What are the other parts that we need to be thinking about? And so to kind of get us into that, is to sort of really think about what does it mean to work in a bioregional framework from what does it mean to do regeneration and when we're thinking about a bioregion? And yeah, it's just how do you separate out the parts that we talk about is it the honeybee or is it the bee that is separate from the flower? Is it, how do you separate those pieces out? And so really thinking about how the interdependencies in the places that we live. And so just kind of wanting that as a prompt. And then yeah, really thinking what are the non-human layers that we need to be thinking about in terms of landscape regeneration, and who might we need to invite to ensure that those non-human layers are represented in some way, are not forgotten, are presenced. And so really just wanted to open it up to everyone to in about 15 minutes is just to really sort of surface anything that's coming up for you that you would like to add as to how might we do that? How might we make sure that that we're holding that in what informs how we're making decisions, how we're thinking about things.
So we've got the 3 prompts in the chat. The invitation is just to have a whole group dialogue, whatever prompt you're drawn to. You can kick the ball off and we'll find ourselves in a flow of dialogue shortly thereafter.
Yeah, Kelso.
We were actually just talking in the car about this exact topic, in a way, and thinking about maybe some cultural practices that orient the group to these larger, more than human elements that oftentimes don't get represented. And so maybe like a cultural practice of calling beings to a room or calling presence to a room, to create containers and to hold that line and hold that open invitation to presence, other perspectives who aren't currently present in a container that you're developing or creating, I think is really important. Maybe practice to just start doing with the people that you have now. Like even if the people that you want to presence these other things aren't in the room, maybe we can start to just at least open our awareness to who's not in the room as a consistent practice.
A quick example being that in meetups, Kendall's been kind of integrating in our community, leaving a seat open for the natural world in which we're making our decisions. Just a simple practice that can bring that presence into the room and really have us.
So when you're speaking around and you come to that seat, then you just pause for a moment to take that information in.
I love that. I'd love to just turn the question back to everyone who's already doing these types of practices. Maybe not every time, but you sometimes do them. Who's got an example of that, or would this be a new idea for some of us?
That's new for me.
I love it because it's simple and it's mindful. Yeah, it's like something you can commit to that just increases mindfulness generally about this critical role that we play in making sure representation is carried all the way through.
Yeah, David.
It's interesting. I find that initially the group from Regenerate Cascada asked us to listen to the forest, to go out there and to be amongst it and listen. But of late, it seems to me like I need to see as if I'm a tree. I need to see from that place of a bee, of a whatever it might be, the element that is there, this unity of life force. And it's for me, it's been a religious conversion my whole life. It's all about a religious belief in that unity of spirit. And that's what brings me to this work. And I think we need to talk about it. Almost in that context, I've told Tom today, and I've told Perry, I also told Kiki that I'm ready to go up onto the Green Congregation and provide them with a sermon. because I think that there is so much that we need to everything that we do and everything that we see. And it's been that disconnect that's caused us to be in this place. And so the either or, it's very clear in that how do we then take the time to feel that unity? And I guess this goes back to Kelso and Kendall's comment that you have to have a sense of that being with you, in you, by you. And I think our work is about how do we transmit that feeling, because that's the very essence of a cultural shift from one that is extractive to one that is inclusive and loving and has the relationships that we talk about so much. You know, we have many people here on Whidbey Island who practice these kinds of activities. We have a thing called the Earth Sanctuary here, where you go walk into the woods filled with art. But I really do believe that it's this unity of spirit with all living beings and all living things. And it's that spirit that you have to really let it come into your heart. Let it come into your heart. So that's me.
David, I see Perry, you've got your hand up.
Well, that's one of the reasons I'm at a 5 is because, I feel I feel like we're treading a fine line between an overlay of a not necessarily extractive, but well-meaning colonial mechanism onto the natural world. And it seems to me like, and it's very hard because I'm part of the colonial world too, like everybody else mostly. But it's very hard to not just rethink, but refeel. And David and I have talked about this for hours on end, but to doesn't come from it comes from more than just placing a seat at the table or putting them on the agenda or whatever that is, wherever they are, whether it's orcas or trees. So to me, it's a little bit a very, very ephemeral and yet transient time of how much organization do we overlay. If we're really mycelia, what is that role? And I've never been taught it. Anyway, I'll lower there.
Yeah, thank you. I really hear the prompt of just yeah, how do we take it more than just words, more than just the symbolism, but how does it actually translate and how we're maybe looking at that? I think that's wonderful, and it's something we'll come back to and it's wonderful to have yeah, the reflections here. Taya,
Next.
front of them.
Okay. So, just a bit of context setting. So, what we're going to be doing today is just another general dialogue amongst us now, and then we'll go into breakout rooms for a further deep dive. And so, we're coming to the end of our first session block. So, each month has one session of content and then three classrooms to go with that. So, the LHC has been open. The Mighty Network platform has been open for a couple of months. The LHC has been open for nearly a month. We're into the journey. We've got 10 groups at different stages. Some groups that have formed after the activation tour, some groups that formed in the last week of October. And so we want to just reflect on that process from the point when your group put in the application to join the Regenerate Cascadia BioRegen program. For some of you, that was when your group literally just formed. And then the journey over the last few weeks of being together in our sessions, being in the Mighty Network space, just a bit of a check-in on how that's been going.
I might just add one thing here is just often we kind of feel like we need to get to the actual work because there is urgency and there's a lot to do. And sometimes it's just really good to just take stock of where we are, how we're working together, because if we don't know how to coordinate and cooperate with each other and work, make decisions together, that can get in the way. So the Biokumala phase, let's slow down so that we can go fast, is really what we're thinking about here. And so this session may feel like we're slowing down, and that's what we are doing. But there's a lot of stuff that will be going and yeah.
Yeah, and I might build on that. There's a gear change coming in December. Yeah, there's a gear change that'll be kicked off in February. And so this is our last time to go, hey, how are we now and how have we been over the last few months? So we'll just do a bit of a brief check-in, and then we're going to give you some much more specific prompts to take into your breakout rooms that are a bit more broadly about how your team is functioning currently and what considerations you might need as we head into the next phase, which is action learning projects. So when we talk about the story deck and the landscape showcase event, that's the action learning project for phase 1. Phase 2 action learning projects is bioregional mapping, flow funds, but for us, the best way to think about them are as projects, yeah? Which is different to the 3 classrooms you showed up to thus far, where it's just about showing up and being part of the conversation. That was a lot, sorry. Bring us back to just the lead in, which is how has it been going since you did your application, since you came into Mighty Networks, and since we kicked off with our LHC programming?
Yeah, just sort of some popcorn style, just some reflections would be great.
Helpful for us. I can see thinking faces on.
I'll just go. I'm kind of a Luddite when it comes to new technology, to be really honest. That the Mighty is a great platform. I'd like to give a shout out to that, how it brings the communication really more clear, I feel like, than some former ways of how I would see feeds. So I really like that being useful for our team. And then also, we still are doing some, back and forth communication just as we're entering just the 4 of us. So I'm really curious how other groups bring in more people and that phase also, which is really integral to team building and team dynamics. So we get to meet on the 8th. So we're still forming as we're the one that formed in October, but we get to meet in person in December. And I think that will just really solidify having like a nice team retreat.
Wonderful.
And pass it to whoever wants to go next.
Asha, I just want to pick up on one thing just to give a big shout out to Taya because she's here as well. But Taya has done an amazing job, I think, of the Mighty Networks platform and the fact that it's running the way that it does. That is like she has been working like crazy. So yeah.
I'm sure she has.
Thanks, Claire. This is the benefit of having someone in a different time zone. 24-hour operation.
You're a day ahead, that's all. You're always ahead of us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'll jump in, just bouncing with Asha here because we have done like our group is like, oh, how about this time? And how about this time? We've been trying out different timings and trying to flesh that out, and it's been interesting. But what has been consistent is the enthusiasm for sustainable housing and permaculture and how they might feed each other. And then this week I went out to Lost Valley and was like, my mind was constantly going about how many of us are doing similar works with like a unique niche and how we can really start to support each other as a larger region and not just this like little micro hub that we're working on. The micro hub is important to build up the portfolio, to build up the process, to learn how to communicate all of those things. But also that larger vision is really exciting and how Regenerate Cascadia is holding us and training us in the middle of their own learning. And I'm just feeling really grateful, hopeful, and excited about it all. And thank you, Asha, for all the front work that you did and for being patient as everybody onloads and like tries to figure this thing out. It's a lot of new information for folks. So thank you.
How about anybody else? Claire.
Our group started right with the activation tours, so we have some maturity under our belt, and it's really coming to fruition now. We just had this meeting. I mean, everybody has a common understanding, common values, excited vision. Everybody comes to the table with, their gifts and appreciation for all of that. And then to have the challenge of coming, telling our story is being a catalyst for us to put all of that together. And I wanted to say also that I was looking at our history in preparation for the telling our story thing, and one of the first things that we did after the activation tour was host an event. And we had Claire and Brandon come down and talk to us about BioFi. And we invited people because we've been in the community for a long time, but who are leaders in this kind of thinking and in the community, and asked them to talk about their interpretation of what's being discussed and how it applies and works with their organization. And those leaders from that event are the ones who stuck with us for the whole past year and are really invested now. So that's how to build it out. We have about a core team of, I don't know, 10 or 12 folks.
Oh, wow.
Fantastic. Wow. Yeah.
I just want to pause there. That is just the power of true engagement, right? It's like it was a particular type of invitation. It wasn't just to be talked at, it was to listen to the concepts we were sharing and then translate that into, well, what does that look like from our lens, and to share multiple perspectives in a facilitated room where we're not against each other or competitive. And that led to such sticky relational glue that they're still with you. That's a wonderful story. Thanks, Claire.
Yeah.
I want to just say one other thing. Is just to say it takes certain kinds of people who realize those balls are just going to get dropped and go dead if you don't keep them going. Yeah. Anyway, yeah.
Someone pointing to their virtual hand, their real hand. That's pretty cute, Kendall. Did you, Kendall and Kelson?
I guess it wouldn't look the same on everyone's screen, but I was pointing at Claire. Claire has really been
she's on that
in
side.
our group. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I know, and that's why I wanted to say that.
Awesome. Props.
Yeah,
So I think,
Kelson, did you have your name up, your hand up to say anything, or?
yeah, I could just add on. I think that's a really great point that Claire brought up. And something else, I mean, I don't know how replicable this is, but just we kind of put a tangible project in front of ourselves that involved asset mapping with the tour as well. And that was a real thing that kind of, it's a bit risky, but it kind of forged our group in fire a little bit, because we actually had to get down to some practical steps and do a lot of things together that created friction, and we had to work through things, and that kind of forged us into a bit of a stronger bond as well.
But it wasn't until we were standing in front of groups of other people that we didn't know and realized we had to tell them who we were that it really got down to the nitty gritty.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, everything that we thought we were really coalesced when we had to put it into a room of other people who were trying to figure out what we were. And we were like, how do we communicate this?
Yeah.
It helps you realize how much coherence you need in order to not let that turn into a massively incoherent experience. But I just love what you said about learning through doing, because this is really one of the absolute core foundations of this LHC, which is why on Friday, when we kick off session 2 with the project briefing and some other supporting resources, it's about how do we learn by doing, which means failing, making mistakes, like, not working with emergence, staying aligned as we move as we work in a decentralized way, etc. And so we'll hear from you, David, and then we'll step into our next activity, which will help us get prepared for that.
I'd like to just reinforce Dasha's gratitude for the stepping into it. It seemed a bit tenuous in the beginning, Taya, but the Mighty Network and how it all comes together in the completeness of the kind of external scaffolding, as you people call it, has been exquisite. And thank you for that. It needed to be there because when you point people to where we're going, we're saying this is who we are. And so they're able to see the bigger picture and understand that this is a movement. There's also been a growing reverence within the stewards group that I've been involved with. We've had a moment of truth with our dear beloved Jeff McNeely. And when Jeff and John were working together on this why Regenerate Whidbey, and I encourage everybody to go to our website, regeneratewhidbey.org, and look at our question about why we regenerate and what is it. And you can even add to it. We're asking our neighbors to do that, but John Rammer did a wonderful job with that. And of course, Tom and Perry and I, who are on here, we look at each other and say, oh my God, there's all this work to be done. But there's this belief that we're doing the right thing. So it will come. It will come. We don't just move at the speed of trust. We trust that speed will come.
Thank you for that sharing. Yes. And yeah. And I'm also glad that Claire and Kelson and
Kendall.
Yeah, Kendall, yes, right. That you brought up what you did, just the all of the everything that it goes into this. It's just great actually to have your real world as you're going through it, sharing that. And we found that very rich in all of the classroom sessions, what can be learned from other landscapes. So we're going to go for 25 minutes into breakout rooms with your landscape groups, or 20 minutes into the landscape groups. And Taya's just putting into the chat the questions that you can ask yourself, but really it's a check-in with your group and just kind of where are you seeing the gaps in what you're doing. And so there's a series of questions to go through. You won't get through all of them, so just kind of pick and choose the ones that that really resonate for you.
And so you'll note that the first two are more broad. Sorry, I've frozen again. I'll turn my video off. And the second two are more specific to the LHC pilot and our next phase of getting into action learning projects. So you may want to make sure you spend 10 minutes on those second 2 points, but obviously do what you like. Your breakout rooms are a private space.
Okay, and maybe someone take notes if you can, because this section's not recorded, and this is meant to be the work that helps you. So we'll go into breakout rooms right now. Does anyone have questions? Okay.
Okay.
And so you've got 20 minutes once you hop in.
You should be going now. Okay.
Helpful.
It helps to compartmentalize too. I like having it all on the same day.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so I think we've got everybody that was there back. Is Christoph, yeah, you're here too. So just wondering if people would like to share what was coming up for them, if there were any surprises, if there are things that are, yeah.
And even just know whether you're sharing what's working or a challenge. It's really helpful for other groups to hear that stuff. So we're not going to. Oh, great, Perry, off you go.
Well, I moved from a 5 to maybe a 7.
I
found out they were more organized than I thought we
Love
were.
that.
And so tell me what made the difference? Like what was it that made you realize that?
Well, I got a concept rather than having 1,000 names here, we need to make some steps forward, like go and learn and listen more. And we've outlined a few steps there just to set up an opportunity to listen and allow then the topic of regeneration to emerge rather than going and force it down their throats.
Yeah, but we're
Wonderful.
also, I mean, just to reinforce that the process this class is giving to everybody, Tom and I went back and did the homework from last week's lesson and started to, and Tom, I should say, he led the way for me. And so we're, I'm looking forward to this week's lesson about story stacks and what they're supposed to look like. So
the-
we've got a pretty good idea about this network of connections. So,
yeah,
we're
you know,
just taking each step at a time as you lead us. So there you go.
It's like we paid you to say that, David.
You haven't paid me a
I haven't.
well, the interesting problem is, in some circles, Whidbey Island has a reputation of being a ripe place for this. Well, in a sense, it's overripe for this, right? Once you sit down and start to map out who's already here, already doing this work, there are hundreds of organizations and institutions involved in laying out that picture. I mean, it's mind-boggling. And so opening that Pandora's box and saying, come play with us.
Hey, it's not
Sounds
Pandora's
huh?
box. You got to get a different analogy.
Well, okay.
So can I,
But it is.
I see
It,
Claire and I can see that Kelso's had their name up. I just want to just say something that just kind of keeping the focus of there are a lot of things, a lot of groups, and a lot of potential. And how big is your team? And what
Well, yeah, it's at this point, 5.
Yeah, and not only what is there to do, like what is the work to do that feels like you can do it, but how are you working together as a group to do that work? And so that's the focus right now.
Okay.
Just to kind of I just wanted to kind of reground in what we were wanting to. This is the slowing down piece. Just to, yeah. Claire, I saw you raising your hand. Did you need to go, Kelso?
I
I
don't
just want.
care. They can go first. They were up first.
Okay.
Thanks, Claire. Um, yeah, I had a little something. I kind of wanted to respond to that a little bit in that during the listening tour that we did, that was a big piece of what we found. How many people are already doing this work, and how many people don't know that other people are doing this work, or maybe know a few people are, but they don't see the larger picture. And kind of really coming to the sense of once we understood that full network, like where is our piece in this? How are we weaving people together? What can we kind of like get people's head above water enough to see the larger picture here? And that was valuable to a lot of people on the ground. Just that piece. Um, but I guess one thing that I was going to say is something that's worked well for us. Um, was I remember right when we came together in the beginning, we immediately got into meeting structure, like a sociocratic form. Um, and that's adopted different things. Some pieces of the sociocratic form didn't work for us, some pieces did. But having that structure, we were just reflecting how we kind of it's become normalized in a way that we might not recognize how helpful it is. But we just have expectations in our meetings, and our meetings go smoothly, and we have certain structures that just have really paid off, I think, and allowed us to not be drained going into those meetings. So it just helps the longevity.
Offering, I can teach sociocracy to groups who want to introduce that to their practice.
Wonderful.
Yeah, and then also I just to piggyback off that, been thinking a lot about membership, like onboarding and like holding a container that's protected by certain values, because I think that movements are often vulnerable to co-optation, and so just is an important piece of process to consider.
Yeah, wonderful. And I just wanted to point out that there is a section in my networks for resources and what have you. And so just for the sociocracy thing, that would be something that I would encourage you to add there. Claire, you had your hand up. Did you still?
My younger and wiser colleagues said it.
Yeah. So others. And I will say that sometimes there are things that are challenging or things that you don't quite know the answers to, and that's actually good to surface as well. Maybe easier in your sort of your groups, but it's also helpful for others to hear where there might be some things that.
Well, okay, so I'm gonna say it anyway. That it's that you're approaching it as a research process. But I like what you said about listening, because if you're approaching it as an ethnographer, it's like, oh, we just had this conversation actually in our meeting earlier today. There's a million, little farmers and food systems folks that we don't really have to, there's nothing, what should we do? We don't have a space for there. So that question becomes, what is our value added? If there isn't a value added, then how do we layer it on in terms of stacked functions with other components of the program? So have fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like no answers?
Yeah. It's a
Ask the
process.
right questions. Ask the right questions. Figure out what are the right questions to ask all these people who you know.
That's great.
Ma'am?
Perry.
Oh, yeah.
You talking to me? Yeah, one of the things we came up with was how we're three old men. And how do we involve people who are 20, 30, 40 years or younger from us? And we came up with a way to maybe fund some young people to put together and gather the numbers involved with water, for instance, on our island, because nobody knows how much water we take out. One of the problems. Anyway, that's just one way to reach into cross generation stuff.
Right.
So
Not easy
Clara
because
and I are
it's
only
easy for us to give advice, but nobody wants to hear it.
That's right.
yes.
He's a bitter guy.
So we weren't in your conversation, so we're flying a bit blind, but we are hearing a lot of focus on still that external network, and we're wondering if anyone got to some of the third and fourth prompts, which were around the realities of engaging project action learning inside the LHC, which gets us into the real nitty gritty. How do you balance life commitments? How do you do this amongst six people or three people? What surfaced in that section of your conversation if you got to it?
I'll speak for a moment here. Asha and I started going over different little things like going through our folders and trying to get some of the information organized and which documents actually need to be meshed together. Like I've created a priorities list with all the links and let's just keep it all there. And where does that need to be so people can see it? And how does your brain work? Mine doesn't work like that. I can't, that's, like figuring out like what is actually going to make sense for you, for me, for Shaylee, and for the rest of the group, as well as timing and who's going to be available for in-person gatherings and dirt in the or hands in the dirt work, and who needs to just really be committed to administrative stuff, and like how can we weave those things together? Are we going to break off and have a few people that are really good at administrative stuff start the story deck, and all of us get together and refine that process, or do we all try and jump on a call together to do it simultaneously? Like we got into those, and yeah, there's like the shaking out of it all, but it's interesting.
That is fantastic. Thanks for sharing that, April. I will just say that as we move into the next sessions, we will be looking at some Google Docs that we'll be setting up for you. But you may have chosen your own form. But we are realizing that you need to have um, the space where you're going to keep your working notes that can help coordinate and just so it's surfacing. And actually, it's really good for us to hear what's like what you're still needing support on those real basics. If things are not coming together, that we start naming them so that at the end of the day, what we really want to do is give you the support you need to succeed in doing something that we're trying to keep limited in terms of the scope of what we're trying to do, just so that we can get our legs under us to really run in future years as we really get the stuff going. We just want to really get it a solid foundation. So knowing that success is what we're trying to support you with, we need that two-way conversation, and we need you to be speaking to each other about
And
those.
on the point you brought up, April, about you described a number of different options for how a group of land stewards could organize around, the action learning projects. And we really want to encourage that. And that's why we have these dialogues. The only thing we're going to say hardcore about is that at least 2 to 3 land stewards come to each classroom so that you're not in a breakout room, doing the stuff on your own. But beyond that, we welcome a diversity of approaches, because this is about how do we coordinate in a way that works for us and our unique local contexts. Yeah. And there are many different ways to coordinate and collaborate. And you don't have to have everyone in the room at the same time. For some groups, that works perfectly. Yeah.
So we're getting to the time right now where we wanted to go into a closing. Was there any last anything to add before we go on to the closing?
Got a few more minutes.
I think it would be helpful to have a session, or maybe we do this during office hours, of how to use just a tour of Mighty Networks and functionality.
Yeah. We're actually doing a half-hour onboarding for Mighty Network tomorrow at 8:30 after the Wednesday classroom, because we've got Fraser Lowland, Mayana and Melanie joining us, our 10th group from Canada. So we're going to walk them through, and anyone is welcome to join. I know it's super late notice, but we could record that and post it, perhaps. Yeah.
Thanks.
When are we going to hear about story decks?
Yes. Well, Claire has been very clear. Like, I think, David, you said it, we're trying to hold you in certain spaces before we release the next tranche of information. So this Friday, you'll get the download on the story decks and the landscape showcase event. And we really want to remind you now, we're co-stewarding you through an MVP light touch taste of that process. And so we're going to be reducing barriers, we're going to be streamlining, we're going to co-create a template, then we'll make up a nice Google slide template for you to use and adapt. And you don't need to go crazy, you just got to do the thing. But then you've been through that process, you can then take your story deck that you're using into any sort of further iteration that you want beyond the MVP light touch version that we steward us through at the same time. Yeah?
Yep.
Yeah, so we're always going to be trying to reduce the scope so that we can just learn together and get the taste, and then you're free to take things further, yeah, in your own time and for your own needs beyond the LHC.
Yeah.
What's the timeline for completing that MVP story deck? Because we're planning to host a community gathering to introduce what we're doing around establishing the landscape hub in the Duwamish 2 weeks from now. So
I'm going to post a new program update shortly, probably by the end of this week. The firm due date is January 26th, Martin Luther King Day, but the classrooms where you'll have had the time to work on the deck will have finished earlier in January. So for some of you, you could be finished mid-January, say.
I thought it was for the dinner on the 10th.
Well, again, this is Friday's session. So we just can't push people too hard. We've got Thanksgiving, we've got Christmas. So we're going to come back in January. You're going to have one more classroom on your story deck. And then there's a totally optional invitation if you want to, wherever you're at, you could practice a dry run of presenting your story, knowing that the landscape showcase event is in the first week of February. But you don't have to do that. It's really just optional for people that are like, we like to get up and give things a go early type of personalities, which not all of us are.
So there's not an event February 10th, January 10th?
There is. There
Oh,
is,
okay.
there is. And I think we'll probably touch on that in the content session on Friday, Claire. We probably should make a note of that.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
we are. Yeah. You'll start to see how some of the stuff actually there'll be some timelines and how it what's leading into the next thing. And I will say this can get really complex, and we've tried to sort of figure out how to even communicate so that we know what we're doing, which is why we decided to actually let's just do an MVP for the first year, just so that we'll coordinate it. Anyway, I think we should move into the closings. Yeah, you were going to.
Yeah, so
Actually,
for the closing,
can
we're going to,
I'm sorry.
yeah,
Oh, I'm
Kim.
sorry. I haven't to try to ask. I mean, I'm not sure about what's happening on Friday and like if what this class is all about. And then I is there a calendar? Like I didn't even know about that tonight. Every Tuesday we're meeting. Like I'm somehow I missed all of that. So is there a space on Mighty Networks or the website
Yeah.
or any one place that I can go check stuff out?
Yeah, Mighty Networks. Are you on Mighty Networks?
Yes, I am.
Okay. So
If
there's
you,
the events calendar as well as we'll take.
Kim, are you free at 8:30 tomorrow night for half an
Uh,
hour?
Possibly. So
Okay, well, we're
December.
going to do a half an hour Mighty Network onboarding session, and we're going to record it. So we'll post that. That's just sort of the walkthrough of the shared resources and where to find things that you're asking about. So if you can't join it, if you can't join the event live, which I'll make in a moment, we'll post a recording by the end of this week. Because
Okay, so
there are answers to all the questions you're asking that will be in that session.
okay, but there's not just like a link that you can put in the chat where I can go and read all
For
this
what?
stuff for
Read all the
a calendar and Friday's class, basically.
Yeah, well, there's multiple links. We'd have to put a whole bunch of links
I can
in
work with you,
the Mighty
Kim.
Network spaces.
I can share with you the Mighty Networks link. It's just in the events, and there's all the events listed. And if you click on an event, like for the Friday event that's listed, you can add it to your calendar there. That's the quickest way to kind of go through it. So
Okay. And then I see Asha's.
And
Thank
there
you.
is the program calendar is if you go into the LHC Cultivator updates, it's featured in the sidebar, so it never gets lost in the feed. You'll see the program calendar there, and it'll always be featured as we make updates.
Okay. All right. I'll look for it.
So we'll just do a quick one sentence whip around the room. Just one sentence about what's alive in you now as a result of being in this class. It could be about your energy level. It could be about an insight. It could be about a curious thinking or musing that you have. Just a one sentence checkout. And yeah, it's really helpful if everyone raises their hands, their digital hand down the bottom, as I have done, because it means we can move through quickly and we know who has spoken and who hasn't spoken. So give it a go. Raise your digital hand. We've always got about 5 people that don't, but that's okay. Great. We've got a lot of hands raised. My checkout sentence, what's alive for me right now is deep gratitude. It's still buzzy. Deep gratitude and a sense of a bunch more tasks to do to make things easier for us all. And I will throw to Denise.
More flying in formation than I thought. So I'm happy. And Perry.
Well, I'm feeling more grounded and kind of more comprehensive about the work we're doing.
And you're going to throw to...
Oh, I'll throw to David.
To take the bird metaphor, not necessarily flying in formation, but more like murmuring.
That's nice.
And I'll throw it to Kim. There you go, Kim.
Yeah. Thank you. So I've got another bird thing. I feel like I'm just like winging it. Yeah. I'm happy to be here and excited about all of this. So thank you. And let's see Denise. Oh, oh, you already went. Oh, sorry.
Denise's hand is down, so we're just going to go with the
Oh,
other virtual hands.
oh, I don't have glasses on, or so. So yeah, Kelso.
Yeah, feeling gratitude for the amount of reflection and the space and pace that is offered here. It was nice having this time to reflect on what we did well and what was difficult. We had some good things that came up. Yeah.
Yeah, feeling grateful to see how this process is evolving and feeling energized and excited about continuing to be a part of this. And then a quick announcement, Lost Valley Education Center is looking for new board members. So if anyone's interested in potentially getting connected with us, feel free to message me and I'll put my email in the chat. Check.
Who do you want to pass it to?
Let's pass to Asha.
Thank you. I think for me, it's clear communication. I always feel like the throat chakra needs to be as clear as possible. So thank you for this opportunity to help in my process today. And I'll pass to Tom. Have you gone?
I am feeling more energized, a sense of some convergence happening.
Great.
Pass it to who's left. Christoph?
Thanks. Yeah, I'm still getting my feet underneath me. Really appreciative of the structure of that you've all set up, and really inspired to actually apply some structure to the container of our group and kind of help get us organized as we move forward into this next week. Now I'll pass it to April.
Yeah, not really sure what to say. I'm ready for bed. I've been going to bed early and waking up early, so feeling hopeful. And I'll pass it to my last one. Taya, are you closing out tonight? Oh, I see a Claire.
With Claire.
I think you.
Claire's.
I appreciated the discussion with everybody, and I have a headache, so I'm gonna go. Thank you. Bye.
Has everyone else gone?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, just feeling collective potential here. I get so freaking excited when I hear landscape groups and what is arising, the potential that's there, and what then gets shared and what's possible as we share and come together. So, and it's just the beginning.
And I've frozen again, but at least with a normal face. So I just want to say thank you for trusting us, and thank you for your patience, and thank you for your ongoing feedback. And most of all, thank you for the work that you do and your deep commitment and your engagement.
Yeah.
And we'll see. I won't be there because I'll be fast asleep at 5:30 in the morning, but we hope to see as many of you as possible at 10:30 this Friday for our gear change into session 2 and our action learning project. Have a great night, everyone.
Okay.
Sleep. Sweet dreams, April.
Thanks for coming out. Good night. Good night, Tom.
Good night. Here we go. Where is it? There.
Where is it? Where's that big red button?
There it is. There it is. Made it.
So let's close this out and then come back into the room, and then we can fix
Get rid of that
our egregious error. We held the attention of the room so well, Claire. No one had time. Oh my God. Also, the other thing is we talked.